This is a quick video about the useTransform hook in Framer Motion. Now, the only thing I don't like is it's a bit too much. So what I mean by that is the scaling basically starts from a very low number like 0. And maybe it's a bit too much, so maybe it should start already a little bit bigger, so it's a bit more subtle. And the same with opacity. It starts off almost invisible and immediately goes to like completely one opacity. So that's a very large range that it's animating basically. And it's not as subtle as I like the animations to be. So we can, this scroll Y progress that we get is actually a special motion value. And we can change that a little bit so that the scale and opacity here that are using that are animated a little bit more subtly. And actually what we also want sometimes is that the scale is animated slightly different from the opacity, right? So that's, we can do that immediately here as well, like this. So what we're gonna do is, there's another hook that Framer Motion gives us is useTransform. So we can transform that scale Y progress that we get from useScroll. And actually I already get a suggestion here. So you put in the scroll Y progress, right? So that's what we need to provide. And then there's two other values. So this the scroll Y progress will go from 0 to 1, right? So that's what we're putting here. And then what we actually want the transformation to be is that for the scaling here, that it doesn't start at absolute 0, right? So it doesn't start from an actual scale of 0, but maybe let's say 0.5 and goes to 1. Right, so what this will give us, we'll use that for the scale. So we can just scale progress, and we need to import this, no suggestions. Use transform from Framer Motion, make sure you import that, and then we can use this value, the transformed value for scale. So if we do that, let's see if that works. So now you can see that it doesn't start off so small. It starts off a little bit bigger, and it's a little bit smoother, I think, maybe more subtle. It doesn't travel such a large range during the animation. Now, it's the same story with the opacity. I don't want it to start at such a low value, so we're also going to transform the opacity. So let's duplicate this line. I'm going to put my cursor on this line and then hold Shift Alt down arrow key to duplicate it. And we can say opacity progress. Right now, maybe we can even change it here. We'll make this 0.6. So this should start not at 0, but at, let's say, 0.6. And actually, let's change the scale because it's still a little bit much. Let's actually change this to 0.8. So now, actually, we should still change this value. So opacity should get opacity progress, right? So I changed the value for scale as well to 0.8. So now it's going to start off, significantly bigger, but I think it's going to be more subtle. Yeah, this looks better, right? So now it's way subtler, right? So you can play around with useTransform to transform that scroll Y progress value that we get, which is just basically a raw indicator of how much we've scrolled in. You sometimes want to transform that, right? It's a bit more advanced, but I think we have a nice result, right? So really slick, I think.
By the way, if this was helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. Also, check out my courses on CSS and JavaScript if you want to take those skills to an advanced level. Because in there, we will build some beautiful real-world projects from scratch so you can see how everything fits together and really master CSS or JavaScript. And I will also release other courses soon like React and Node.js. So if you want to be notified, then make sure you are subscribed to the email newsletter. You can find the link in the description. Thanks for watching and I hope to see you soon.